New developments in the search for Savannah's mom as it enters a 24th day. Two law enforcement sources are telling NBC News that one of those doorbell camera images of the suspect was taken prior to the morning of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. So what does all that mean? NBC's Liz Kreutz is in Tucson with the very latest. Hey, Liz, good morning.
Hi, Hoda. Good morning to you. From the moment those surveillance images were released, quite a few people pointed out that one of them does look a little bit different. Notably, it doesn't appear that the suspect is wearing that backpack in it. But while two sources do tell NBC that that photo was actually taken prior to Nancy's abduction, I talked to the sheriff about it overnight. He's pushing back on that, saying the timing is all still under investigation.
This morning, new questions about the timing of those chilling surveillance images of a masked suspect outside Nancy Guthrie's home on the morning she disappeared. Two law enforcement sources familiar with the investigation tell NBC News that this image was actually captured on an earlier date than the other ones, indicating the suspect may have come to Nancy's home prior to the night of her abduction. The surveillance images were first shared 2 weeks ago by FBI Director Kash Patel, who said they were from the morning of Nancy's disappearance on February 1st. But unlike in these images, in the image in question, the suspect does not appear to be wearing a backpack or that unique gun holster, and the background also appears to be darker. A spokesperson for the FBI declined to comment about the timing of the photo, but Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos did respond, telling NBC News in a phone call overnight that the timeline of the images are still under investigation.
It is all speculative if for someone to suggest that that photo is from a different day. That's all it is speculation. We understand the thinking behind it. But right now, we have no evidence to suggest that that occurred that day or days before.
As of February 24th, 2026, day 24 of this investigation, the case just took a turn that nobody saw coming. How does someone plan this carefully, leave behind this much evidence, and still vanish without a single name attached to them? This is the Nancy Guthrie case, and it starts falling apart in ways nobody expected. Subscribe to Crime Shadows. Let us talk about what we now know. According to sources who spoke to both CNN and ABC News, the masked person caught on Nancy's doorbell camera did not show up just once on the morning she vanished. That person showed up on a completely different night before the kidnapping, without the backpack. That detail matters because it means this was not random. Somebody walked up to her front door, looked around, and left. Then they came back. The second time, according to the FBI, they were armed, wearing gloves, and carrying a 25-liter Ozark Trail backpack. They tried to knock the doorbell camera off the wall. When that did not work, they covered the camera lens with a leaf from a plant sitting right there on the porch. But here is the thing they did not count on. According to FBI Director Kash Patel, the data from that camera was still successfully recovered. Every single second of it. And now law enforcement has released 4 black and white images of this person standing right outside her front door. The suspect is described as a male, roughly 5'9" to 5 feet 10 inches tall, with an average build and what appears to be a black mustache, according to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. He was carrying a gun, but according to firearms experts cited by NBC News, the way that gun was sitting in its holster looked like the work of an amateur, not a professional. So why was an 84-year-old woman the target? What does someone like this want with her?
Showing the suspect without a backpack. Sources now tell ABC News that image was captured on Guthrie's Nest camera on a date prior to February 1st, when she was abducted.
If it is the same person, it could indicate that the person was there surveilling the place before the abduction happened. The fact that there was preparation and planning, which makes it more of a sophisticated type of criminal activity than someone just showing up.
One theory, the sources say, is the suspect approached the door the first time, noticed the camera, and was scared off, only to return later when he is seen with a flashlight in his mouth, tampering with the camera and covering the lens with branches. That gap could help explain why investigators are looking for neighborhood camera footage going back to January 1st, a month before the abduction. The sheriff has said he believes Nancy Guthrie was the victim of a targeted kidnapping.
That is the question nobody has answered yet, and it gets stranger the deeper you go. What would you do if you noticed a masked stranger standing at your neighbor's door late at night? Drop your answer in the comments. Nancy Guthrie was born on January 27, 1942, in Fort Wayne, Kentucky. She has lived in the Tucson area for more than 50 years. According to her family, she was mentally sharp, completely independent, and she lived alone. She raised 3 children, Savannah, Annie, and Cameron, largely on her own after her husband Charles Guthrie died in 1988 while on a mining trip in Mexico. She was the kind of woman who had a standing Sunday routine, watching a virtual church service with friends every single week. It was that Sunday routine that first told her family something was wrong. When Nancy never showed up to watch the service on February 1st, her church friends called her children. Her daughter Annie's husband, Tommaso Cioni, had dropped Nancy off at her home at 9:48 the night before, according to TMZ's timeline. He waited 2 minutes to make sure she got inside safely. Then he drove away. At 1:47 in the morning, Nancy's doorbell camera went offline, according to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. By 2:28 in the morning, according to investigators, her pacemaker app had disconnected from her phone. By the time her family arrived at the house at 11:56 that morning, she was already gone. Sheriff Chris Nanos later confirmed that Nancy was in her bed when she was taken. So how does a masked stranger pull this off without anyone seeing or hearing a thing? The answer is in what the evidence is now telling investigators, and what it is not telling them. Who was this person who had the nerve to show up twice? What were they really after? Here is where things stand right now, and this is where it gets complicated. According to ABC News, investigators currently have 400 people assigned to this case around the clock. They have received more than 55,000 tips since February 1st, according to the Pima County Sheriff's Department, 25,000 more than they received in the same time period last year. And yet, no suspect has been publicly named. Here is why. The DNA recovered from inside Nancy's home does not match anyone in the FBI's national database, which holds 19 million offender profiles, according to NBC News. On top of that, the DNA is what investigators are calling a mixed sample, meaning it contains genetic material from at least 2 different people, according to Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos. That makes it harder and slower to test. A glove found 2 miles from Nancy's home, which appeared to match the ones worn by the suspect in the doorbell footage, also came back with no hits in the database, according to the Sheriff's Department. Investigators are now sending the DNA to a private out-of-state lab, according to ABC News. The next move is investigative genetic genealogy, the same science that caught the Golden State Killer and identified University of Idaho murder suspect Brian Kohberger. Genetic genealogy expert Cece Moore told the Today Show that when those results come in, they will be conclusive, according to Moore. If I were the kidnapper, I would be extremely concerned right now because using investigative genetic genealogy, he will be identified. It is just a matter of time. But here is the piece that no one is fully talking about yet. Investigators are not ruling out the possibility that more than one person was involved, according to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. That mixed DNA sample, it might not just be a contamination issue. It might mean there were 2 people in that house that night. Meanwhile, Walmart has handed over purchase records for every single sale of that specific 25-liter Ozark Trail backpack across the entire state of Arizona, according to ABC News. Investigators are now working through every buyer. They are also canvassing gun shops around Tucson, showing the doorbell footage to see if anyone recognizes the weapon or the holster.
It's day 24 of this search, and still, as you alluded to, so much is unknown. It's unclear if that image was taken days before this abduction or in the hours leading up to it. The sheriff late last night in a statement saying to draw any conclusions at this point would be pure speculation.
We run all leads down until we have no more lead.
Where do you think Nancy Guthrie is?
I think she's somewhere here. in our community. I don't have any evidence to prove that, but I just believe that she's somewhere here locally.
And last week, the sheriff told me it is possible the suspect in that video had an accomplice that may have already been in Nancy Guthrie's home, though at this point, still no suspect or suspects named as this investigation continues now into week 4, Nora.
Released a new photograph of the alleged kidnappers at Nancy Guthrie's Ring camera at her front door prior to the kidnapping. Now, some other interesting things that have been discovered. Thank you to Knock It Off the Books, Alana, that they have mining claims. The Guthrie family, like way back years and years in their family, they have mines, like for, I believe, oil or something like that, drilling sites that are on, get this, Trump's border wall stops right at their property, right? And so you can literally get through. It's right on the border. So this is literally in their backyard of Tucson, Arizona. So it makes you think, and this is where my head is going, why are they not searching into those mining claims? Because if it's me, I'm going to say, let's go on their land, let's get a warrant, and let's look. There could be little cabins along the way, oil, mine shafts, whatever it is. There's tons of places where if somebody wanted to, and they had the wherewithal and know-ofs, that they could go hide her on this territory. Now, we know between Kayla, allegedly Luke, allegedly Zach, allegedly that they know a little bit of something about smuggling, about the family, about the money. I don't know. And watch any Dateline or Forensic Files. It's always somebody within the family. I don't think this is random. We're praying that Nancy is still alive, because my question is, she's 84 years old. How many people can survive this? Did they get her medicine and take it with them? Because if not, what is the purpose of her not being alive, right? Because then they can't ask for all those Bitcoins.
It's Monday, February 23rd, the 23rd day into the disappearance, the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today's Show co-anchor Savannah Guthrie. I'm standing on the street in front of Nancy Guthrie's home, and just noting there is a diminished presence of media on site. Typically around this time of day, late afternoon, you would see a lot of reporters getting ready to give their reports on national network shows, local news shows. I've seen 2 Tucson television stations here, none from the Phoenix area, and no networks that I can see as of yet. There is an increased presence of live streamers who are covering the disappearance in their own way and taking upon the mantle of being private investigators looking for evidence on their own. In that similar vein, there is a group from Sonora, Mexico, who is going to start searching in some fashion on their own as well.
And according to NBC News, Sheriff Nanos said police are getting closer to identifying the specific shoes, pants, shirt, and jacket the suspect was wearing in the footage. 2 people have been detained and questioned: a deliverman who identified himself as Carlos, and a 37-year-old man named Luke Daly, whose lawyer said he has no connection to Nancy whatsoever, according to ABC News. Both were released without charges. Neither is considered a strong suspect. How do you explain leaving behind that much evidence and still not being caught? Let us know what you think below. Right now, Nancy Guthrie has been missing for 24 days. No arrest has been made. No proof of life has been confirmed. The reward for information leading to her safe return now stands at over $200,000, following an anonymous donation of $102,500 this past week, according to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. President Trump has publicly said that whoever is responsible will face the most severe federal consequences possible. And when asked whether that could include the death penalty, he said yes, according to a New York Post interview. Savannah Guthrie has stepped away from the Today Show entirely. She was supposed to co-host coverage of the 2026 Winter Olympics. Instead, She posted a video directed at whoever has her mother, saying, according to NBC News, "It is never too late to do the right thing." The entire Guthrie family has been formally cleared by the sheriff's department. Investigators are now preparing to potentially scale back the number of resources on the case and transition into a smaller long-term task force, according to ABC News, though Sheriff Nanos publicly pushed back on that framing, calling the investigation expanding rather than shrinking. Here is what this case reveals that is deeply unsettling. Somebody planned this. They came to her house before. They came back. They knew when she would be alone. They knew how to disable a camera. They knew enough to wear gloves. And they still left behind DNA. The question nobody can answer yet is this. Was Nancy specifically chosen because of who her daughter is? Or was this something else entirely? We still do not know if she is alive. We still do not know if there is one person responsible or two. We still do not know what those ransom notes, two of which investigators believe are connected to the real kidnappers, according to earlier reports, actually demanded. What this case shows us is that even in a world full of cameras, tip lines, and 400 investigators working around the clock, one person with a plan and a mask can still walk into someone's home and disappear without a trace. Could this have been stopped? We may not know the answer to that for a very long time. An 84-year-old woman was taken from her bed in the middle of the night. The person who did it had been to her door before. And right now, the only thing standing between him and freedom is a backpack receipt, a strip of DNA, and time.
Hi there. I'm coming on to say it is day 24 since our mom was taken in the dark of night from her bed. And every hour and minute and second and every long night has been agony since then of worrying about her and fearing for her and aching for her. And most of all, just missing her, We know that millions of you have been praying. So many people have been praying of every faith and no faith at all, praying for her return. And we feel those prayers. Please keep praying without ceasing. We still believe. We still believe in a miracle. We still believe that she can come home. Hope against hope. As my sister says, we are blowing on the embers of hope. We also know that she may be lost. She may already be gone. She may have already gone home to the Lord that she loves and is dancing in heaven with her mom and her dad and with her beloved brother Pierce and with our daddy. And if this is what is to be, then we will accept it. But we need to know where she is. We need her to come home. For that reason, we are offering a family reward of up to $1 million for any information that leads us to her recovery. All of the information about this reward and the details is in the caption below. You can call the 1-800 tip line. You can be anonymous if you want. Someone out there knows something that can bring her home. Somebody knows. And we are begging you to please come forward now. We also know that we are not alone in our loss. We know there are millions of families that have suffered with this kind of uncertainty. And for that reason today, we also are donating $500,000 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. for their work in helping families who are coping with loss and actively looking for those who are lost. We are hoping that the attention that has been given to our mom and our family will extend to all the families like ours who are in need and need prayers and need support. So please, if you hear this message, if you've been waiting and you haven't been sure, let this be your sign to please come forward, tell what you know, and help us bring our beloved mom home so that we can either celebrate a glorious, miraculous homecoming or celebrate the beautiful, brave, and courageous and noble life that she has lived. Please be the light in the dark. Thank you.
Until next time on Crime Shadows, I am covering a case where a witness to a crime reported it to police and somehow ended up becoming the prime suspect. Subscribe to Crime Shadows and hit the notification bell for fresh updates. New videos every week.